Roselyn Fosuah Adjei, Director of the Climate Change Directorate of Ghana's Forestry Commission, Distinguished Humphrey Fellow of the U.S. Department of State, and Ghana's National Red Plus Coordinator, shared her expertise on a panel at the Oslo Tropical Forest Forum 2024, addressing critical issues facing tropical countries in the carbon market. She highlighted the tightening regulatory landscape, outlined on carbon integrity, the challenges on both supply and demand sides, and discussed why market demand is softening. Importantly, she tackled the crucial question of rebuilding trust in forest carbon credits. Here to offer you a clear picture of where forest carbon markets stand today and where they might be heading is Roselyn Fosuah Adjei.
Good afternoon, and it's always a pleasure to have such an opportunity to share reflections from Ghana's perspective on the work that we've been doing on Red Plus and on forests in general. And many thanks to the Norwegian government for having Ghana. And thank you, Francis, for laying that beautiful foundation. So, when we talk about high integrity, question is, what are we talking about? I believe that we all have certain things that we expect to see. We are expecting that we have transparency, we have inclusivity, and we have accessibility, particularly for the MRV side, to understand what structures have been put in place for measurement, reporting, and verification. And then we're also expecting some clear governance principles. We're also expecting that programs that are being put out there in these markets or generating forest carbon have accountability to different stakeholder groups, both nationally and then also globally. And then we're also expecting that we have equitable benefit sharing and we have rewards that travel beyond carbon. Now, this is what I believe jurisdictional programs bring to bear the most, because these are large-scale programs covering multiple areas where necessarily you have to be transparent because you have different stakeholders. Necessarily you have to be inclusive because you have different stakeholders. Necessarily, you have to be accessible because everybody is in the landscape. You cannot work in silos. And when Frances and I were thinking about what or how we're going to frame this, she mentioned to me that she's going to give this kayaking example. I had to come up with something because how am I going to sustain the crowd? Well, I haven't been kayaking. I've been here the whole time from last week in this hotel. So I came up with an analogy of a hotel. So come along with me. So when you enter into a hotel, hotels have ratings. We have 3-star hotels, 5-star, 7-star hotels. What you expect is what you pay for. You don't expect to go into a 7-star hotel and pay for a 3-star price. It is the same when we talk about high-integrity forest carbon finance. What are we willing to pay for? Different countries are at different stages. If you expect to have a gym, well, look for a hotel that has a gym. It doesn't really mean that you're not going to have a bed to sleep on. The fundamentals will be there across different hotels. But if you expect to have an airport shuttle pickup, you're going to have to pay. And when you join these, maybe you reside in a big hotel, well, of course, you're also going to have rewards over time. And so you can sign up for a program, a loyalty program that keeps giving you rewards. I think that's how this whole landscape of forest carbon financing or markets is looking like. We have so many calls for high integrity. We have so many calls for high quality. Question is, who is willing to pay? High integrity could be 3-star, could be 5-star, could be 7-star. Now, even within these hotels, I have been here since last week. I've changed 4 rooms. You can have deluxe, you can have standard, you can have super deluxe. It doesn't in any way take away the fact that these hotels are functioning, but they are different levels. Again, within the same rating, a hotel can be upgraded. So it doesn't mean that you stay 3-star forever. Depending on the patronage and your vision to expand, you can upgrade. I think that is where a lot of forest countries are, within the space of generating credible forest carbon finance that has a lot of high integrity. And we have done so much. We've put in place benefit sharing schemes. We've defined inclusive governance practices. I mean, the support that the FCPF process has given us, the support that the UN Red process has given, has meant that a lot of countries have done readiness and extensively. Now we are at a scale where we need finance to come in for resource-based payments, but that is largely lacking. I keep hearing that there is demand, but we need high integrity. I challenge any particular entity here, sovereign state, private sector, if you are willing to pay the price, because I don't think we walk into hotels and define our own prices. If you walk into a hotel, there is a rate card. You're paying what that service is giving you. Now, what the supply side is giving must be paid for. It's not about $5, it's not about $10, it's not about $20. It is about what a country has put in place and what must be adequately compensated for. Now, in the next stage, beyond RED Plus stages where we are now, or as we enter into the market fully, we believe that, for example, coalitions such as what LEAF is doing is phenomenal, is fantastic. It has proven that, of course, we can have public-private partnerships that can work towards a particular common goal, that can show a proof of concept, and that's very, very much needed because we need to demonstrate that this is possible, and it is possible at scale. And so moving forward, we need markets that foster a lot of social cohesion. We need markets that are built on trust. 2 years ago, I had the opportunity at the OTFF, and I spoke about trust. It's very important. If we are not able to build trust, at all times we are having engagements, but there is more like a facade in between us. We need markets that are competitive. Ghana has been fortunate to sign on a few ERPAs, and we are currently negotiating others. And most times we realize that whoever is on the other side engaging us will say, well, the market says it's $1 per ton of carbon. Our question is, which market? Did the market define what we had to do with local communities? Did the market define the effort that we had to put in to construct our MRV systems? Did the market define what we had to do for social safeguards, to have integrity, environmental safeguards as well? So deal with every country on a case-by-case basis. It's not about someone sitting somewhere and defining broadly some metrics that indicate that this market should be at $1 per ton of carbon. We also need markets that are real and tangible. We are very real sitting here as human beings. We are very real sitting here as living organisms. Let's have markets that are real. Let's have markets that appreciate expectations. We shouldn't have expectations for what is not possible. We should rather have expectations for the journey that we can travel together. It is very important. With a lot of hand-holding, with the right capacity, we can travel together and build the confidence that we need for these markets. And we also need markets that recognize the true value of delivering to indigenous people and local communities. Every time I talk, I say that as we are talking, deforestation or forest degradation could be happening one way or the other. It is actually happening. It is happening not just because people find these as hobbies. Well, you have to do the unpacking, understand who is at what particular level in any deforestation train or trail. But ultimately, whilst this is happening, local communities and indigenous people are losing a lot that they depend on for their livelihoods. And so any moment we delay on delivering finance, we are actually delaying on what is the essence for IPLCs and how they can also come on board in the sense of ownership. Therefore, as I bring my comments to a close and join the panel, I really want to encourage all of us to compensate for progress and appreciate incremental action. Ghana shouldn't be rated against what Brazil or Indonesia is doing. Likewise, another country shouldn't be rated for what Ghana is doing. We should be rated on our own country, case-by-case basis. Of course, we are going to have generic standards. That is going to be there. But when we get into the specifics, if we don't do that, we demotivate countries, we demotivate action, we demotivate progress. And it's also very important to know that as we talk about different benefits of the forest, I've heard biodiversity credits being mentioned. I think it's fantastic. I've heard benefits such as other ecosystem services, for watershed management being mentioned. All these must be paid for and compensated for. But if we don't get the current market right, it is going to have a ripple effect on how these other benefits are also compensated for. Thank you very much for your attention.